Today, I'm going to tell you 3 stories, and at the end of each of them, I'm going to show you the haunting photo or photos that are famously associated with them. But before we get into those stories, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right place because that's all we do, and we upload once a week. So if that's of interest to you, the next time you're at the Like Button's house, please secretly sneak into their fridge and replace all of their vanilla ice cream with mashed potatoes. Let's get into today's stories. February 31st, 2012, a 23-year-old man named Chen Rongyu walked into an internet cafe in New Taipei City, Taiwan. The cafe had a front counter where a cashier would check you in and sell you snacks and drinks. And then from where he was looking, behind the cashier were all these tables, these long rows of tables with different computer stations at them. And there was at least about 30 people already sitting behind each of these terminals, fully engrossed in whatever game or whatever they were doing on the internet. And not one of these people even looked up when Chen walked inside. I mean, nobody was interested in Chen. But for Chen, that was sort of part of the allure of this cafe. He got to, sit down and play his game and be totally left alone. And so Chen walked up to the counter and paid for some time. He also bought a soda, and then he walked around back. He found an empty computer, sat down, and immediately fired up his favorite game, League of Legends. League of Legends is a multiplayer online battle arena game that's extremely popular all over the world. And Chen took this game very seriously. He routinely would spend 8-hour-long marathon sessions at this internet cafe just playing League of Legends to try to level up and move up in the ranking system. And so today, that's what Chen was going to do. And so after the game was booted up, he immediately locked in and he was in his first battle. And then before long, hours had gone by and he hadn't even gotten up. And then eventually, a couple times he got up to get a soda refill and to get a snack. But I mean, he basically just all night gamed, just nonstop, periodically stopping to literally put his head down on the table and take a 15-minute power nap, only to get right back up and get back into the game. And so all night, he's just on this game. By a little after noon on February 1st, Chen had been gaming nearly nonstop for 14 hours, which was long even by his standards, but he couldn't stop now. He was exhausted, but he was doing great. This is like one of the best sessions he had ever had, and right at that moment, he was in the middle of this really intense match where his team was about to get knocked out by this really good opponent, and if Chen could just lock in, they could pull out a win. And so Chen was super focused, leaned forward, hands flying across his keyboard and mouse, and he managed to dodge an attack, and then he geared up for the big strike, and right as he did, something went wrong. About 9 hours later, around 9 p.m., the cashier at this internet cafe had just finished giving another soda to one of the customers, and then they looked out and she noticed there was nobody else in line. Now, the job of this cashier was not just to check people in and give them snacks and drinks. It was also to keep the cafe clean and also, critically, to periodically make rounds and kick people out once their time had expired. Because oftentimes, a lot of these gamers would get sucked into their games, lose track of time, and basically end up playing for longer than they'd actually paid for. So the cashier grabbed her clipboard with all the information about each of the customers and how long they had paid for, and then she began making her rounds in the back. And part of it was she needed to speak basically to all the people that were there and kind of confirm that they were supposed to be here still. But as she walked into the back, per usual, nobody looked up at her. I mean, all these people at all their terminals were heads down, fully focused on their game. I mean, completely immersed. And so she began going, one person to the next, being like, hey, are you good? Did you pay for your time? Are you going to be here any bit longer? And a lot of these guys, they'd finally look up and be totally shocked she's even standing next to them because they weren't paying attention at all. But, one by one, she checked each of the monitors, and eventually she got to Chen. And when she got to Chen, Chen was focused on this game entirely to the point where when she said, hey, your time is up. You've been here for 24 hours. You paid for, 8 or 9 or whatever it was. Chen didn't even look up at her. I mean, nothing she could do could get Chen to even acknowledge her. He was so focused on the game. And so eventually the cashier, out of frustration, was like, hey, and she kind of tapped his shoulder, and Chen leaned back. And when he did, and the cashier got a good look at him, she screamed. It would turn out, until this very moment, Chen had gotten his wish. He had come to this cafe 24 hours earlier and been totally left alone. He got to exclusively just play his game in his own world. In fact, the whole time he was here, no one had even looked at him. Because if they had, they would have seen something was horribly wrong. It was the cashier who walked over to him and tapped on his shoulder who noticed what was wrong. Here's what the cashier saw. This is a picture of Chen, and Chen is in full rigor mortis. Because 9 hours earlier, when he was in the middle of that really intense fight with that opponent who was about to beat Chen and his team, Chen, he got really excited and he was about to land that big strike that potentially could have been the blow that would have won the match. Well, he was so amped up that Chen had a heart attack and died. And for the 9 hours after he died, when he was still in the same position he was in playing the game, nobody noticed. He just sat there appearing to be fully alive, locked into the game like everybody else, but he was actually dead. And so it wasn't until the cashier tapped Chen on the shoulder and he rocked backwards, still in his gaming position, but because he's in rigor mortis, his hands kind of jutted out in front of him up into the air, that she realized he was actually dead. Chen's family would later say that he had pre-existing heart issues that very likely contributed to his fatal heart attack. Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. As the weather warms up and the days get longer, it can be exciting, but also kind of overwhelming. In the winter, we all kind of get to hibernate and stay in our houses and kind of avoid the world. But now, with the days getting longer and sunnier and brighter and everybody's outside, there's like this societal push to get out there and be active and hit your fitness goals and be social and also clean your house. It's like, be the best version of yourself right now. And so, of course, every spring, right around this time, I start to feel really self-conscious because I see all my friends and family posting their amazing lives on social media, looking like they are absolutely becoming the best versions of themselves. And I feel like I'm not doing enough to compete with that. And so to me, it's really no wonder that statistically speaking, anxiety actually does spike in mid to late spring. Luckily, my sponsor, BetterHelp, is here to help, and their licensed therapists are ready to support you right now. The majority of BetterHelp members report reduced anxiety symptoms after only 6 weeks, and it's easy to start. All you have to do is fill out a questionnaire, and then BetterHelp will pair you with a therapist in as little as a couple of days. Also, you can easily switch therapists at any time at no additional cost until you find the right fit. With over 7,000 reviews and a 4.3 rating on Trustpilot, BetterHelp is a platform you can trust.